Local stories, local people. We're taking you inside Western Mass news. It's the Even Better Western Mass podcast with Dave Madsen.
It's good to have you with us for this week's edition of the Even Better Western Mass podcast. Hope you're doing well wherever you are as Massachusetts re-enters the second phase of its reopening plan. Hotels, of course, look to resume bookings, restaurants to welcome dining in, and shoppers going back to retail stores, among other easings of the restrictions. A slow process for sure, but we're getting there. Well, later in this week's edition of Even Better, my conversation with Kenny LaBelle, best known for the Diamond Collection, the Neil Diamond tribute band. Kenny talks about stepping back from the Diamond Collection after nearly 20 years of performing. My first guest, though, is Corey Liptak. He's the president of Liptak Emergency Water Removal in Westfield. Corey and I talk about the importance of keeping your home or business sanitized in the COVID-19 era and the best way to go about it. All right, Corey, let's talk a little bit about Liptak water removal, how long you've been in business and exactly what you focus on.
Dave, we've been in business for going on 30 years now. We focus on disaster restoration, such as water damage if a pipe breaks into a house, if there's smoke damage, any mold remediation. And lately, everything has just turned to fogging and cold fogging for the different coronaviruses going on right now.
Now, have you done this before, or is this something you kind of shifted gears to meet the need right now?
We've done different types of bacteria cleaning for all kinds of sewage backups of that nature, so we're used to decontaminating. But as far as the fogging goes for a virus like this is all new to most of the industry.
Now, you were mentioning to me that there's really nothing in particular that is out there as far as COVID-19, but there are materials out there and cleansers that you can use that do a good job in cleaning this stuff up.
Absolutely. So one thing for homeowners is, what they should be doing is following the CDC guidelines, washing their hands, making sure that they clean all touch surfaces. If they have disinfectant wipes or hospital grade disinfectant, clean all touch surfaces. Same with businesses. If, for my business, our standard is when an employee comes into work, before they start work, they are tested with a non-touch meter. Okay.
For their temperature,
if they even have a slightest elevation, they're to return home and call their doctor. Okay. So before they come into the building, they're tested. After they're tested, we make sure that everybody's following the guidelines of wearing proper protection within 6 feet of each other. Okay. So these are all standards that we are maintaining and following. Now, I understand the new guidelines are if there's an outbreak in your facility, you have to close and clean. One of the things we're doing with that is obviously the fogging. So if a facility can't clean themselves, okay, we are able to come out and help them by doing the cold fogging, which is small particulates that go into all kinds of areas without leaving raindrop sizes from a big sprayer. And we wipe down the touch surfaces afterwards. Now, under special circumstances, we can also do air scrubbing, and we can also use UV lights.
So this is hitting areas that you wouldn't normally get by, just by doing an own scrubbing. These areas that, are kind of hidden.
Yes, the cold fogging is very effective, and it really pushes out a small particulate size that really spreads across everything. One of the things we do too is we use an ATP tester for bacteria, so we can show you what your bacteria count is on your surface prior to us cleaning, and then we can show you afterwards what it is.
Now, I'm guessing
within 10 seconds of doing it.
Really? Okay. The biggest part of this is people who don't know they have it and who are spreading this stuff unknowingly. That I guess that's the big part of this is this unknown. Someone could be in your house and you just don't know. So better to be safe than sorry, I guess, than have it cleaned.
Yes, clean. For regular homeowners, clean all your touch surfaces every day. Somebody goes outside or is going to work, come home, take your clothes off as you would in a garage. I think it's becoming more of a standard. And clean your surfaces, clean your hands. As far as businesses go, make sure that you have a policy in play. Like our business, the first one here, he's assigned to clean every touch surface once a week. We actually fog our facility once a week to make sure that there is no chance of it being active here.
Because the other part of that is these places that you're going into, you don't know if someone's been in there with it, but you can't take that chance. So you're as vulnerable as anybody else.
Correct. And until this thing is brought way down, or until the vaccines are out, you have to maintain cleanability. One of the other things we had talked about was the hard surfaces. Always clean your hard surfaces. That's where things tend to stay. As far as your fabrics go and your pillows, or homeowners, furniture, or commercial buildings carpets, yes, that should be part of your routine cleaning anyways.
Now, for someone who might not be able to afford to have a company like you come in, what are the best things that people can use to clean surfaces? And I mean, if they can't do the fogging or anything like that in their own homes, what can they use to best protect themselves?
Again, soap and water is very effective on this. Everything I've read. Also, hospital grade disinfectants, and also your disinfecting wipes. Rubbing alcohol is very effective on it too. So there's so many things out there that can stop the spread of this.
I guess my big fear is that when all this kind of dies down and everything else, we're going to get lackadaisical again. My guess is that you're urging people, no matter what's going on, is to always wash your hand and keep surfaces clean. Never mind what's going on now. I mean, it happens with colds too, right?
Absolutely. And fortunately, we're through the big cold season, but this virus is still around. So constantly wash your hands. I imagine anybody going out anywhere today is constantly sanitizing and washing their hands. And that helps break the cycle of that. Cleaning. It all comes down to, again, clean, clean, clean. So don't stop cleaning. Don't stop cleaning your doorknobs, your doors, your counters, and same as your facilities. And any of these businesses opening, I'm sure have a policy in place to constantly clean every single morning, and probably doing some type of temperature checking, which I think should be mandated, because that'll help stop any sickness from going into your facility or your home.
Sure, that's your first indication of something like that. Let's talk about misconceptions and mistakes people make when they do clean, the things that they're not doing that they should be doing.
I mean, people walking around without protection. You see it, I see it. Again, you got to protect each other out there, and they're just trying to bring this whole thing down. So if the CDC guidelines state it, follow through with it. We can all work together and help it solve this problem.
They're making these rulings for a good reason.
They are making these rulings for a very good reason. People are getting sick, and people are dying from it. And let's help work this together. Okay, you're seeing people congregate now together in big groups. That's not good until the government tells us to. I mean, I follow the CDC guidelines.
I guess the other thing too is when someone's in their house and they cough or they sneeze or whatever else, this stuff projects out there at a pretty good rate, at pretty good distance.
Yes, they're saying it could last in the air up until 3 hours. Again, you have to cough into your arm or into your mask if you're in public.
Now, is there a mix that people can do at home? Say, I know it's fine. It's hard to find those Clorox wipes or the Lysol wipes and stuff like that. Those are at a premium. Is there a mix that people can do on their own?
I follow what the EPA has for registered products.
Yeah, just so if you can find bleach and just water that down or whatever else, let's put it this way, it's not going to do any harm as far as cleaning stuff.
Again, they're saying for your hands, you can use soap and water. Yeah. Or, counters using EPA registered disinfectant. We're also right now, we're doing free work for RVs across America, which provides RVs to first responders And so we're donating all our fogging services to them right now.
Yeah, crucial for them right now too. It's a different time that we're living in.
It is a different time, and until things change, I recommend that everybody just constantly clean your business, clean your house, and follow the CDC guidelines. I mean, they're pretty simple. Yes, nobody likes it, but if we got to do it for a little while, then so be it.
I'm guessing too that when you started the year, your business plan, this wasn't part of the business plan as the year started.
We actually started ramping up for it as it came out because we saw there was going to be a demand because they were not able to get this under control. So we bought lots of product ahead of time, so we would not run out for when the phone calls started coming in, and then they started coming in shortly after. And as businesses open up through these next few phases, we expect even more and more phone calls from this.
So it's going to be a busy time for you, a busy summer. While some people are business is slow for some, that is far from the case for you folks.
It is, it's been certainly busy for us.
My thanks to Corey Liptak for joining me for this week's edition of Even Better Western Mass. Well, if you're a Neil Diamond fan in Western Mass, there is a good chance that you've seen our next guest in concert. Kenny LaBelle has been performing the music of Neil Diamond for nearly 20 years now with the Diamond Collection, the tribute band that's dedicated to carefully recreating the songs and sounds of Neil Diamond. But now Kenny says it's time to move on to something new. Kenny, after 19 years with the Diamond Collection, you've decided to move on, and I'm sure your fans really want to know why.
I feel like it might have just run its course. I mean, it's been a long time. Performing, I just love performing. That's my thing. I just love it. I'd say a couple of the biggest reasons, when I started doing this, first thing I did was I went online and I looked to see if there were many other guys doing Neil Diamond stuff. And at that time, there was nothing on the East Coast. We were the only Neil Diamond East Coast band. I said, all right, let's do this. Now, there's one like in every city. And what I've learned is there's a right way and a wrong way to do Neil Diamond's music. There's a certain soul to his music that very few performers can capture. And what I've seen is, anybody goes out into a karaoke bar, whatnot, sings Sweet Caroline, bam, all of a sudden you got a new Neil Diamond tribute. And the problem I have with that is my band over all these years have been real meticulous about the arrangements. I mean, if there's an oboe in 2 measures of a song, we do that oboe. We try to be sure to dot every I, cross every T, and it's done to a T. But there's not a lot of these guys that do that. And it just diminishes the work that my band has put into it. So, I mean, after, seeing it getting bigger and bigger and bigger all the time with more and more of these Neil Diamond guys, it just kind of, I don't know if take the fun out of it was the right word, but it was just disheartening to see these guys coming out and doing really poor job and then, being able to compete with my guys.
Sure. Now, when you started this 19 years ago, how did you decide, well, we're going to do Neil Diamond? It's
just great stuff, and a lot of people, when you say Neil Diamond, they automatically think Sweet Caroline, You Don't Bring Me Flowers, which, I don't love everything the guy does. I hate You Don't Bring Me Flowers, to the point where I rewrote the lyrics. And our girl singer and myself, we go backstage, put on shower caps, old ratty robes and everything. And we would go out and do a parody of You Don't Smell Like Flowers. And when King Harrison from Neil Diamond's band came to the Majestic and played with us, he was laughing so hard at that. He's leaning on his congas laughing. And he just kept saying, Neil's got to see this, man. Neil's got to see this. Whether he did or not, I don't know. But and I just became friends with King, and we talk all the time. Whenever he's in town, we go play golf and we perform, and he's a good guy.
What is it about Neil Diamond? I mean, he's sustained for so long, and his music.
Yeah, I mean, there's a certain soul or magic to his music. And again, you know, you say Neil Diamond and go, oh gosh, Sweet Caroline, and you know, but you listen to some of his deep cut stuff, which is what kept us alive for so many years. When you listen to songs like Lady Magdalene, the whole Jonathan Livingston Seagull album, which I feel is his masterpiece. I mean, that album I can't get enough of. And like I say, there's a certain magic to his music that, you know, if you really let it get into you, you can feel it. You know, and that just has held me for 50 years.
I suppose too, you know, with Neil Diamond, you know, people today who didn't know him from when he, you know, from the early years and everything else, they do. It's all about Sweet Caroline. But what you've been doing through all these years is keeping that other music alive and exposing people to that.
Yeah, I mean, we've recorded 4 albums and a couple of DVDs that we sold worldwide, and I always go after a lot of his B-side stuff, because it's intense, it's moving, it's just you can feel it, and people just don't give that a shot. They say Sweet Caroline, that's Neil Diamond, so he's pigeonholed into Neil Diamond, and that's sad.
And he was one of the early singer-songwriters too. I mean, you know, prior to that, it was mostly really starting as a writer first, and people covering his music before he really started performing.
$50 a week or something at the Brill Building, writing for people.
Yeah.
But you know, and you know, one of the things I love about Neil is he always reinvents himself. Give you an example. Remember the Monkees song, "I'm a Believer"?
Yep.
Well, Neil did 4 different versions of that. He did like a Las Vegas version, he did the original version, he did a jazz version, and he did a ballad version. We've done all 4 of them. And it was funny when my wife and I, in 2012, we went to the Greek Theater in Los Angeles for his 40th anniversary of his Hot August Night album. And he was talking about "I'm a Believer." And the band started playing ballad and everything. And he said when he wrote that song, his new wife wasn't even born yet. So it's good to be a Jillionaire and have a name like Neil Diamond, you know?
It is, you know, and sad to see too that, you know, he's dealing with Parkinson's now, but we've seen him a couple of times putting, you know, performances online, which really is heartening to see.
It is. It's good to see that he's, you know, he's keeping up with it. And I've heard talk that he's got a new album coming, which is great news. And I guess there's some kind of a Broadway show coming on Neil Diamond. I don't know if it's in the works or when it's coming out or whatever, but I'd seen it. You know, there's a couple of Neil Diamond Facebook pages, and they know more about, they could tell you Neil's shoe size and everything else, which I could care less about. I just like the guy's music, you know.
Yeah. Now, how many times have you seen him live?
Probably 10 or 12 times.
Wow. And what is, I mean, in your live performances, what do you try to capture from his live performances? I've been to a couple of his shows too, and there's nothing like it.
No, there really isn't. I like it. There's no warm-up band. The guy doesn't take a break. He just goes. The first time I saw Neil was in 1976, which was the one and only time he was at the Springfield Civic Center. And that's where I started watching King Harris. I'm like, this guy's cool. And then to have King call me in 2010 and says, Kenny, I've been hearing a lot about you guys over the years. Says, I'm going to set something up and come play with you. I'm like, holy moly, here's my other hero calling me wanting to come play with my band. I says, heck yeah. So he came in 2010, 2011, 2014, and we played with him in Las Vegas. 4 of Neil's band members were in the audience in Las Vegas. 2 of them jumped on stage and played with the band. So, I mean, we've done some pretty cool things. Not every show, you know, you get your clunker every now and again, but, you know, we've done some cool things. Playing Las Vegas, being the first local band to ever play the Court of Honor stage at the Big E in 99 years. That was a pretty good feather in our cap. Playing Daryl's house in New York, that was pretty cool. Being on the same stage as all these nationals, it was a cool thing, you know. And we've done some good things. We've done a lot of recording and met tons of great people. And what I like with the Diamond Collection is a lot of people have become friends through the Diamond Collection. They meet at our shows, and you know, now they're friends and they're doing things together. We have one couple that that met at one of our Hukilau shows and have since gotten married and been married for 10 years or something like that. So it's kind of neat. But I find it, you know,
very neat.
I'm finding it kind of weird that, you know, you want to do an interview with me on a band breaking up, and I moved, and it's just.
Well, I mean, it's got to be hard. I mean, really, it's been so much of your life for the last 19 years, and all of those memories.
Yeah.
You know, what are you hearing from your fans?
Don't do it. I'm gonna miss you. I mean, you know, a lot of well wishes. You know, and I know I want to do something. I just don't know what. But I've got a lot of calls and messages and Facebook posts, all this stuff. And our fans and friends have just been fantastic, and they're all, you know, wishing well. They understand that, you know, it's time to move on. You know, I'm not getting any younger. It's going to be nice to have a summer where we're not constantly looking ahead to the next show, and so on and so on. All of a sudden it's October, your summer's gone. So my wife and I want to be able to take our motor home and do a few things with it. I want to spend a lot more time with my grandson, Jesse. He's the reason I got the beard thing going now, because he's 3. And I picked him up one of the old style double-edged razors with no blade. And I get him all lathered up and everything, and he watches and makes all the faces with me and everything. And I said, okay, until these germs are gone, he calls this virus germs. I said, until all these germs are gone, neither one of us are going to shave. So he says, okay, Grampy. And I was over there the other day. I said, Jesse, you're getting really hairy. And he goes, I know, I need to shave. So that's why the beard. I've never had a beard in my life. So it feels weird because I can't feel my face.
I know that counts, because I would have a mustache and you kind of stroke it all the time.
Yeah, you know, you can feel the pressure, but you can't feel your face.
Nothing like grandkids, huh?
He's the best thing that ever happened to me, I swear. The first time he called me Grampy was March 19th last year, and it was the best sound since the first time I got called Daddy. It was just, you know.
Now, does he like the Neil Diamond music?
He doesn't particularly care for much of any music because loud. He doesn't like loud. My daughter is a country singer. She's done some good stuff. She opened for Big and Rich at the Mass Mutual Center. She played the VIP lounge for Miranda Lambert. She's a big Miranda Lambert fan. So she's got Jesse listening to a lot of Miranda Lambert, and he knows the songs. So he's in this car seat singing along with Lindsay. And
now, when you look back over the years, is there one concert, one venue that you played that stands out more than another, or is that too hard to answer?
Not really. The Majestic Theater. It's just I just could never wait to get back there. And we play there every August in relation to the Hot August Night and everything. And that's just, like I say, my favorite place. But no one show has ever really stuck out that I can recall.
Now, were you going to make that your final concert this year? Was that the plan?
That's what I was hoping to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. COVID-19 has kind of put a monkey wrench in all that.
Yeah.
Do you have a one particular Neil Diamond song that you like more than the others?
You know, I get asked that a lot. I really don't. It comes down to mood and your present situation, everything. I mean, I can't get enough of the JLS album, the Jonathan Livingston Seagull album. That's just a nice album to put in when you're driving. It's soothing. It's magic. It's just, I love it. But no, I really don't have a favorite to speak of.
Yeah.
Because he has so many. I mean, how do you pick? You know, when in the winter time when we're, before we get rolling again, I've got probably 50 or 60 of Neil's CDs, and I spend hours and hours down here in the winter setting up our show for the next year. And I'm looking for new songs, new versions of old songs, and things like that. And that's what kept it fresh for us for so long.
Sure. Now, have you ever met Neil?
And I get asked that all the time too. And I say no. And they say, would you ever want to? And I say no. And they say, why not? And I said, well, what if I didn't like the guy? Talk about bursting your bubble. And they say, never meet your hero.
Interesting. Interesting. That is. Now, as far as performing, my guess is you're not walking away from performing. When you find something, you'll be back out there.
Yeah, I've got a couple of ideas, but at least for the time being, I know it's going to be several months before I can get, 6 or 8 people in one closed room together to work on it. I know that's going to be a while with this COVID thing. So I'm setting up here. I'm going to get back into writing a little bit, do some recording. I'd like to play some with my daughter. Just being a dad, it's just one of my pleasures is performing with my daughter. But
tell me what the first time
any...
with that was like, performing with your daughter. Could you keep it together?
Oh yeah. I mean, she was actually one of my first backing singers when she was 14. We got her singing when she was about 4, and just kept working with her and letting her, learn, and she can pick up harmonies just like that. And she's a good little performer and a good songwriter.
So, more time with your grandson, more time with your family, a little more time for golf?
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't played as much golf as I have in the past. Last year, I think I only got out once. I've only been out once so far this year. And it was my typical vulgar display, but, good golfers probably like you will tell you how relaxing the game is. And I equate it to a 3-finger prostate exam.
Yeah. We have the same game.
So, we were members for a long time at Crestview Country Club, and I was just waiting for my ball budget to stop exceeding my membership cost. But, it's fun. And my wife was saying, I think we should get back out and play some more golf, and I'm all over that. We love Crestview. We go up there anytime we can. Now we're going to.
Well, Kenny, I got to thank you on behalf of your fans and everybody who's enjoyed listening to your music all these years. And, we know we will see you somewhere down the line, hopefully at the Majestic.
Yeah, and hopefully not in a mug shot, but yeah, we'll go and do something. But if I may, I'd just like to, if people are going to see this, I would just like to say thank you to all of our friends and our fans. We love you guys. You guys were what kept us going for so many years, and we'll never forget you.
My thanks to Kenny LaBelle for joining me on the podcast. And that, my friends, will do it for this week's edition of Even Better Western Mass. Stay well, and if you can, join me next week.